The housing market around New York City is booming. This is Byron and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 125 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
The word is up. We've got 2 rackets and then a quick marketeer.
Yeah.
Do a quick one. We're talking about somebody
like
very
usual.
Special on the marketeer
I wonder who that is.
of the week. Racket number 2, we're talking about New York City. So stay tuned for that. But before we get to all of that, racket number 1.
I feel like you're like, are you sluggish
Teasing?
today?
Am I teasing?
You are teasing, but you sound like,
Oh, a little slow. I'm a little slow.
Is it because it's the afternoon?
All right. I think so. We do this in the morning, day early afternoon. All right. The line between iBuyer and traditional brokerage is starting to blur. If you caught I think it was 2 episodes ago.
At least, yeah.
Talked about OfferPad now, not only buying homes direct, but also listing your home. You don't have to sell them your home for them to list with you. And since then, we have now seen Open Door jump into the mix with that. I'm watching
Sam's doing
Sam
this,
doing
back bend, like stretch thing.
Crazy. Very good moves, Sam. Too bad everybody couldn't see that.
Well,
and if you're listening, you
could probably see our lighting shake a little because he needs to practice his limbo a little bit.
All right, so both now OfferPad and Open Door are basically traditional brokers. They started off saying, hey, we just want to buy homes direct and you can sell it to us with a quick, easy close, no showings, no hassle, none of that stuff you have to deal with traditional brokers. But now you can deal with all that stuff. List it with us.
Right.
Reason being?
Well, again, I think it's smart because obviously they were getting a tremendous amount of leads, but people weren't buying. But I think, you can't even get angry at them because, I mean, goodness, I remember sitting in our other office with our other table, before the quarantine. So at least probably 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Years ago.
Yeah. I mean, we were even talking about how, traditional brokerages should start being iBuyers too. So I feel like it's only natural that the iBuyers would then flip and do the same thing. I mean, there's opportunity there.
We've been very bullish that every broker should have some type of iBuyer, either partner connection or they should be doing it themselves.
Right.
But you're right. It's exactly because of the amount of leads. And so they're seeing a whole bunch of lost income go out the door.
Right.
Zillow, for example, who does their Zillow Offers Instant Offer program, in 2019, they bought 6,500 homes, a lot of homes, but they had 264,000 requests for people to receive an instant offer. So they only bought about 2.5%. Now Zillow, because of the way they're set up, they had an easy model to just hand those leads off to their Zillow Premier agents.
Right.
Open Door, OfferPad, they weren't really set up that way.
Right.
So now they're building listing teams like we've seen with OfferPad. Open Door is still using some partners in areas, but they prefer to list with their listing team in-house.
Well, because then the experience is very much controlled by them. Yeah.
Chris Lindahl actually wrote a good opinion piece on Inman. This article that we're talking about is also on Inman, but Chris Lindahl, biggest team for RE/MAX for years before he went indie brokerage. He's talking about how teams were really set up well. I had to get this article in here somehow.
I know.
Teams are really set up well for this pandemic because they can offer a consistent experience. If you have 20,000 agents and they're all independent contractors, you can't offer a consistent experience 100% of the time. It's going to be all over the place.
Or, who's available to do what when you need it. I mean, there's, especially right now, I know our team is certainly utilizing each other just based on, because people are stuck home with kids or, what have you, so. Yeah.
Now, I think that there is going to become a time period where you won't see as many leads, or maybe I shouldn't say that. I've said this in the past. I think like the home valuation, people know what that means now, and they don't really, it's an automated valuation, and they don't necessarily click on that to see what their home's worth. What's your home worth ad, right? And I have stated.
You don't think people are doing that?
They are still clicking on it, but just not as much as when they first saw it, those first couple of years.
Oh, maybe.
Facebook ads work much better.
I don't know, love. I mean, it's interesting, though, because everyone's talking about, I mean, how many conversations have you had with sellers recently that were like, you know what, like, let's just throw the house on the market and see what we can get
right now? Because
so I'm saying, like, I mean, this is a very interesting.
No, my point about bringing that up is, are people, I've said this in the past, are people going to get accustomed to seeing the offering from OfferPad or Open Door or Zillow that we can buy your home instantly, and they're just going to ignore that because they know it's a bottom of the barrel price, or it's the lowest amount that they could get. Reason why I say that is because then you would see over time these leads go down. But I think the flip side of that is with Zillow being all in on buying homes direct from people without them having to go through the process.
Right.
I also feel like this could just become the standard.
Right.
When you list your home, you now will always have 2 to 3 instant offers that you're going to look at that you can close on right away. And then you're also going to compare that to what the agents in your market are willing to offer.
Right. It's just really interesting because what we're also seeing here, though, too, is people are doing, they're going in for these instant offers, right? But then they also know that they're also willing to list it, where it's like, where will those instant offers really then land to make themselves look better to list too? Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I'm more on the lines of thinking this is going to be the standard in the industry. We haven't seen it right now in Connect. Like, people call you, are they even asking you?
Well, why wouldn't?
What's my instant offer?
Why wouldn't it? I mean, we're talking about that too, though. Even just within our own team, like, can we generate enough investors to give us enough money to offer that out?
So if this is going to become the standard,
why wouldn't you?
Right. I think it's smart. Why wouldn't you as the seller, right?
Right.
But now think about this: if this is going to become the standard, you already have Zillow as the iconic brand in real estate. Well, you really only need 2 or 3 more brands. And if it's Open Door, OfferPad, not Realogy, right, not these other brokerages.
Well, you know where it'll be really interesting to see how many times have you also had conversations in the last probably 3 weeks about everyone saying that, in 6 months there's going to be all of these foreclosures because people are, pushing their mortgages off. I mean, it may actually become a legitimately serious option for some people to sell the house real quick to bypass that foreclosure experience, and it may actually save some of these sellers from financial hardship for forever, bankruptcy. And I mean, it'll be, again, the whole world has been shooken up for sure.
iBuying is not going to be 50% of transactions by the end of the year like Brad predicted, but it is absolutely the biggest disruptor that we are faced with as real estate agents if you don't want to become an employee for Zillow, Open Door, OfferPad. It
may be 2021. I mean, he may actually say that again for next year. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. So
JD Manning, our friend in Arizona, shout out to you, JD, sent up some stats.
You've talked about JD in a while.
Well, after the OfferPad video, he said, hey, I'm not really seeing them list anything at all. I know you guys mentioned it, and it was in Inman. He did do some research. He went onto the MLS. The OfferPad has 95 active / under contract, so 95 total active and pendings. 4 are occupied, so those are obviously people that didn't sell their home direct, that are listing direct.
Interesting.
And he says, I'm guessing that there may have a handful of vacant homes that they've listed for other sellers. So right now, OfferPad has maybe a dozen properties.
Yeah, but didn't they just launch?
They just launched, so
I mean,
a dozen is more than half the agents in the country. So I guess you have a point there. All right. Yeah. Racket number 2.
During a pandemic.
Yeah. No, it's not terrible, but not great either.
But stats are helpful. Thank you, JD.
Thank you, JD. Racket number 2. The housing market around New York City is booming. It is on fire. This is out of Wall Street Journal. So we shifted away from it.
What's super interesting, though, is maybe we should look at other articles. Like, is the same thing happening around LA? Is the same thing happening around Chicago?
Oh, it's funny that you say that, Nicole, because I do have another article up.
I love it.
And that is from Bloomberg. Wealthy havens lure...
Mad rush. See, I like that headline better.
Lure home buyers, in mad rush from San Francisco. So they're talking about, like, all the way up to wine country. People are fleeing San Francisco and buying north of the city because that was one of the heaviest restricted areas in the country. They locked down first.
Yep.
And so people...
And now they're having their second outbreak too. So as is Florida. Well, I wouldn't say second
Florida's
outbreak,
not.
but...
I'm disputing that.
The numbers have... Okay. I'm not even getting involved in it.
Fuzzy numbers down there. All right. Anyways. Let's talk about what we're experiencing here because we are we're 2 hours outside of New York City. Okay, so we're not in traditional suburbs for people that commute. Okay,
but go easy though. We personally are, yes, but Connecticut obviously is a border. So,
but I'm just talking about our market of New Haven County, Middlesex, and New London here in Connecticut. We've always seen people from New York buy second homes. And
it's funny you say that though, because again, I feel like
the truth.
Well, but it is still funny because I feel like for so long, so many sellers were like, a New York buyer is going to buy this house, and I've never really had that New York buyer until now.
That's exactly my point. I talked about this on the radio over the weekend. Every seller I've ever sat with over the price point of $1 million has always said to me, Byron, it's going to be easy for you to sell my house.
Yeah.
You'll be able to sell this to any New Yorker.
Market it in New York. Market it in the Wall Street Journal. Put it on. Come
Nicole,
on.
get it in New York.
Yeah, come on. Do the banner. You're gonna have a New York buyer, and we've never seen that New York. I have never had a New York buyer buy any of those homes.
It does happen.
Oh, of
a lot
course,
of times second homes, but. Right now, as we sit here in 2020, in June of 2020, sellers, if you're local, and this is what I said on the radio, it is your golden opportunity to cash in on that statement, sell it to a New Yorker.
Yes.
And that's what they're experiencing all up and down the Connecticut shoreline. We're experiencing it. I know Ryan from our team, he said over the last couple of weeks, 75% of his Zillow leads are New Yorkers. You're working personally with 4 New York buyers right now, I think you said. Is that number accurate?
Yep.
There was who's this person in this Wall Street Journal? Catskill Farms Incorporated, home builder in Wurtsboro, New York.
Building.
He sold 6 yet-to-be-built homes in the past 8 weeks. And the owner, Chuck, said his company usually sells 16 to 18 homes a year. They sold 6 of them just in the past week. He's getting 30 inquiries a week, up more from usually 6 a week. And these are to-be-built homes, so people aren't even saying, I need a home right now. I just need a home outside of New York City.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think too, I feel like there's lots of stories that are happening in lots of different scenarios. Yeah. Some are looking for a second home because they now want grass, right? I mean, that's really sort of the true second home. Some of the buyers though were looking to rent or buy for the second home, but now the longer that this is being dragged out, they're now actually thinking that they're just going to relocate completely out of the city. So again, I think the story will continue to unfold depending on how long this all lasts. Now, especially people can work from home and not have to go into the city. Then you can really sort of pick where you want to live as long as you're, train ride away, or maybe you just like hop on a plane there for a day,
Things in the average price points in our towns are flying off the shelves. Multiple offers. It's crazy.
Right.
Haven't experienced
Well, money is so cheap right now though too. Yeah. So I have to say that a lot of multiple offers that I'm seeing aren't necessarily even those New York buyers. There are those buyers that
are going to buy anyways.
That are local,
but
that
you
are now
have
getting
multiple
money. It's so cheap.
But you have multiple offers and you have more buyers than I've seen in a long time in a spring market. And I do think that is in part to this emergence of New Yorkers getting out of New York. But this article talks about like the radius, not just Connecticut, right? It's Jersey.
Yeah, they're talking about New York.
It's upstate.
Yeah.
Now, Zillow, though, disagrees with us. They say patterns haven't changed much. Nationwide, about 64% of home shoppers looked for suburban homes in April. That's compared with 66% in April 2019. So it's actually down. And I don't know what they're considering suburbs. We're 2 hours out. They're probably not considering us the suburbs. Usually it's an hour. And I think in this article it does say an hour within is the suburbs. We'd be more of a second home market. For shoppers based in New York metro area, those looking to move to a different metro area grew to 40% from about 35% last year. So not a huge jump.
I think what we need to
Whoa. Yep. There you go. That happened to me on the radio too this week.
I think what we needed to remember though too is, if you're talking about a New York suburb, I mean, you weren't even really able to transact in April very much either. So I think now that New York has sort of opened up and now, real estate is a little bit more essential, it'll be really interesting to see maybe what Zillow sees, come, looking at May and June.
That's a great point, because if they want to sell their New York City apartment, they haven't really been able to do that until now. They're starting to get to a place where they can actually get buyers into their apartment to buy it.
Right.
And if they're not in a position, some of these New Yorkers right now are just buying $400,000 or $500,000 homes in Connecticut because it's cheap and they have the means to do it. Not every New Yorker has those types of means.
Yes.
What I will say, and I shared this on the radio locally, and I'd love to talk to some people from Fairfield County, Greenwich, or Jersey, certainly upstate New York. We're seeing the average price points explode. Over $1 million, our luxury price point here in Connecticut is down. Okay, so New Yorkers, you always hear New Yorkers, tons of money coming out here, right? They're not coming out here and buying the expensive stuff. They're buying, oh my gosh, I can get 2 acres for $450,000.
And look at my taxes. They're so low.
Yeah.
A lot of their decisions, in all honesty, are based on taxes. I feel like I've had more mill rate conversations in the last 3 weeks than I have ever had in the last 10 years.
So that's what's happening. When we first talked about this on The Real Word, we were talking about people fleeing, just trying to get out because of the health crisis. They were looking for rents. How many times do people ask you for a rent? And they're realizing that rental market.
How many renters do you work with,
especially in the
Byron?
summer. I don't work with rental buyers.
Viewers.
Whatever they're. I don't work with rentals. No, sorry. But not to sound. It sounded totally douchey right there.
That's why I had to bust your balls on it, because you always sound douchey.
I know. I sounded very douchey. It's just a decision I've made to keep with fair housing practices. Okay. Anyways, they're noticing that the rental market's not there, right? So they're just buying stuff. To your point, we'll see how this plays out.
If they do rent, you're talking about sometimes $20,000, $30,000 a month, where jeepers, like, it makes so much more sense for me to put that money into that home. And then they could actually then charge another New Yorker $20,000 to $30,000 to rent their house.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Marketeer of the week this week. It's not from Inman. It's not from Wall Street Journal or anywhere else. It's right here.
Wow. It's like, I see you put a lot of thought into this.
Can now.
So you're regifting your gift?
You are the winner of the Marketeer of this week.
Wow.
Nicole, when the pandemic hit, with a group of people locally.
There are a group of us. There's four
group of ladies locally. Put together what's called the gift card project. And from this point, I don't know, would you say April, March, end of March?
End of March. Yeah,
end of March, you guys put it together. It is now June. And over that time period, the gift card project has raised almost $30,000.
Yeah, well, we're just about at $25,000, so we're close.
And so what these guys did was they decided, we want to help all our small businesses. I'm very passionate about all the small businesses, and Nicole's obviously very passionate about all our local businesses. I'm sure if you're an agent watching this from anywhere, you are just as passionate as we are about your
and if you're not, you should
community.
be.
And you should be. That's what you do. You sell your local community. So you should know your small business owners. You should have compassion for them. You should help them as much as you possibly can. And so you guys decided to do just that and have people go out and buy local businesses gift cards, donate them to the gift card project, which then in turn donates them over to causes in the community, frontline workers, people in need, people that need a meal. So I've always called it 2-for-1. Right? It's like a twofer.
It's a great twofer.
You help out the small business and then you donate to somebody who needs it all at the same time. So everybody's getting help. Raised almost $30,000. Maybe we can scroll the gift card project website right here.
Sure.
Do a little scrolling.
Love it.
Love the name. You came up with the name, right? Did
Yeah.
you? Take the credit.
I did. No, we came up with the name. Yeah.
And a little website, and it's just been that simple, right?
Well, I think what's really nice with the gift card project is obviously we're pushing it mostly in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so easy for each state to sort of run their own. So we are statewide. We're not just like trying to help only our town. We do have a few like liaisons. Like,
it's so easy to rip this thing off. Like so many people have already ripped you off.
Some people have already. And I love it though. But again, I mean, like you can't, as you know, you want to get angry, but then you're like, that's the point.
Helping other people,
yeah. I mean, that's the point, is you want people to, instead of just donating cash, this is so much better because you're pretty much giving the money to a business that needs it. But people are still getting the help. They're still getting the gift card from your local grocery store. They're still getting sort of a thank you note from the local, nurses are getting gift cards to buy new clothes at your local store. So it's
like Mark Cuban's idea for the next stimulus package. He wants to give everybody a debit card that runs out in 14 days. So you have to, like, they sent out the, I think it was $1,200 stimulus checks in the first stimulus bill. And people could just take that $1,200, put it in their savings account, buy stocks, do whatever.
Right.
He wants to, whatever the number is going to be on the next stimulus. This is his, he doesn't run the country, obviously, but
right.
Have a debit card that you have to spend in 14 days, and you have to transact with a business. That way, the money goes back into the economy.
Right.
Same thing here. The money is going into the local community. I love it. R&D it if you want, rip off and duplicate, but give Nicole White some credit.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's also really a nice story for the business owners too. So instead of them saying, please buy a gift card from me, or please come shop here with me, they can encourage people to buy gift cards because then they'll donate them to the gift card party. So it's just, there's multiple conversations, multiple storylines, but again, in the end, sort of helping as many people as you can. So
if you're seeing something very creative, whether it's, hardcore marketing or something more community-based like this, please send it in to us. We'd love to share it here on The Real Word.
Please.
All right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for my award.
You're welcome.
I'll give it back to you at the end of
I'll take that back in about
I know you will.
12 seconds. Keep it real, guys.
Yeah. See you guys.